Hi, everyone. This is Kristen Egger. Today's healthcare topic in the IDChat Podcast series is successfully exchanging patient information and the challenges we've seen in accomplishing interoperability. Joining me today to educate us is Catherine Schulten, and she is the VP of Product Management at LifeMed ID. Thank you for coming on today, Catherine. What is interoperability?
Interoperability is just a long word that means the exchange of information. And in healthcare, we really see two environments where data is being exchanged. One is internal to the organization. So that could mean a health system needs to exchange data internally between other EMR systems they might have, lab systems, pharma systems, revenue cycle systems, just other systems within their infrastructure. But there's also exchange or interoperability to external stakeholders. So to other healthcare organizations, certainly to payers, and to the patient's own personal portal. These are all opportunities for interoperability.
Why is interoperability a challenge?
There are two major areas that I see that are obstacles to interoperability. The first one we hear a lot about is data blocking. Data blocking can actually come from a couple different areas. One is this perceived lack of technical interoperability standards. In other words, is everyone speaking the same technical language to one another? There's other concerns such as HIPAA. Some organizations feel very strongly that exchanging clinical data about an individual needs to be held to such a control that they're unwilling to exchange this information. And thirdly, there is a belief that some organizations are simply not willing to exchange data unless they are forced to. So all of these contribute to this idea called data blocking. But another area that certainly is an obstacle to interoperability is identity resolution, knowing that the person for which you were asking for a record is also the same person that you have received the record. So for example, you have a person named John Smith, you request a record for him, but can you be confident that that record is really for the same John Smith that you asked about? So not having a single national health identifier, some people believe, is yet another reason for obstacles in interoperability.
A national identifier. Can you expand on that a little bit more?
Sure. So national identifier is certainly held in other countries where when you're born or when you become a citizen, the government there assigns you a national health identifier. And it is something that you use every time you go to see your healthcare provider. And it certainly helps to exchange or facilitate the exchange of information. Think of it as just having another Social Security number. In the United States, though, we don't have a national health identifier. And in fact, a lot of organizations are removing the Social Security number as an identifier by which you should be known. So now we all have our own proprietary or unique identifier that maybe one healthcare system has, but certainly another healthcare system would not have that same identifier.
What would be a solution for healthcare providers today to address the interoperability challenges?
I would encourage people to look to standards such as the NIST 800-63-3 standard, which speaks not only to identity resolution, identity proofing, authentication, but also the concept of federated identities. I believe that this is where we will find our answers to how to exchange information about a person through federated identities.
To learn more about how Amy adheres to NIST identity proofing and authentication standards, visit lifemedid.com. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us today. And to all of our listeners, stay tuned, same time next week for our next ID Chat podcast topic.